Hello and welcome to episode 13 of the Tithyn Bryn podcast. My name is Ellie and today it is Sunday the 18th of March and I have made it this far. I have still got a rather large bump here in front of me. So still got bump in tow and still able to podcast. So we shall see what happens now in the next week or so. Lots of little bits to tell you about this week. Some sections are a bit light on content this week because we've had disturbed nap times due to toddler illness. Joyfully, he threw up in the car the other week, so that was a heap of pulling apart the car and the car seat to wash everything. And then plus there's been more getting ready for the new baby arriving and sorting out things ready for the growing season outside as well, if it ever arrives. It is a very snowy, cold, freezing cold day here in Wales again. I'm wearing James's fleece because it covers the bump, and I'm wearing a cowl that my mum knitted for me. This is the Song of the Sea cowl by Louise Zass Bangham, and the pattern's on Ravelry. So you've got big waves, medium waves, little waves, and it's ever so snugly warm. So right, anyway, on to knitting. I finally managed to block my samples and quite pleased with how they've turned out. So a little blocked, I'll hold them up so you can see the blocked samples of my planned projects. There's the little star one there in the Rivernet Silbermalt. And so I finally managed to block those, so I now need to get some more projects off the needles so I can get the full size projects on the needles for those. And I've tweaked the patterns subsequently to blocking them as well, so that's been one good thing. I have two finished objects here in my elephant's bag that the lovely Zoe of Pins and Needles made me a while ago now. I've got two little finished objects. One was almost a finished object the last time you saw it. I still need to sort the ends out. This is a jelly bean baby hat, and it is in, bear with me, the Rainbow Heirloom Solo Light. Had a bit left over from a sockhead hat I knitted a while back for Zoe of Pins and Needles, and so that's one little baby hat. It's my jelly bean baby hat pattern that I have on Ravelry, and then the other one is knitted up, it's same pattern, the jelly bean baby hat, and it's knitted up in some leftover hedgehog fibres from a sockhead hat I made myself, and a little bit of my own yarn with the green there striped in because I really did not want to play yarn chicken, was not in the mood for playing yarn chicken, so I just striped in a bit of yarn, and I think that's toned in quite nicely. Again, need to sort the spaghetti ends out. And so they're my two little finished objects for this time round. I will put them back in my knitting bag as I go, I think. I have managed, last time I showed you I had a hoe, so I had the one finished sock, and this time round I am a good way into the foot now of my dad's birthday socks. These are due now for the middle of April. I have just knit a plain down, top down vanilla sock, and it's knit out of Weaver's Loft sock yarn, which is 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon. So nice, good, hard wearing sock yarn for Dad. These are in my lovely Thimble and Thread Makes Harry Potter bag, which I love. It's the perfect size for carrying about a pair of socks. Fantastic. Always got a pair of socks in there. I have managed a heap more rows on my Hazel's shawl. Sorry, excuse the clattering needles. I have to make sure I'm not going to lose any of this now. On my Hazel's shawl, this is knit up in River Knits, and it's the 4-ply fingering weight yarn she does. And it's the colourway Indian Giant Squirrel. It's a pattern I'm currently working on releasing after the baby is born. So it's Hazel's, and you can see the leaves starting to really come through. I'm on the second set of leaves now. So you've got the first set there, look far better, squished out and blocked. But there's the first set of leaves, and the second set of leaves is just starting here. So you've got the stalk and then coming up to the leaf there. So that's going well. I've got that, so that is nearly finished. I have now decided to start using a progress keeper on my Weasley sweater, because to be totally and utterly honest, I cannot for the life of me think whether I've even knitted on it since the last time I spoke to you guys. So I've popped my progress keeper on now, and hopefully by the next time I podcast, whenever that might be, I will have a progress keeper way down where, and I will know exactly how much I have knitted. This progress keeper is one of Jenny of Owl About Yarns, fabulous TARDIS ones, and yes, so hopefully there will be some progress on this, but I have no idea how much, if I've done any of the Endless Stocking Stitch. I don't think I have. I don't think I have touched it since the last time I spoke to you, but I can't be sure because I don't have a progress keeper. Okay, Velcro caught up there. So that is the knitting. Sewing. Yeah, none. I have no finished objects. I've managed to cut out some fabric for a commission project, and I've got more to cut out this week so I can get started sewing on that. No finished sewing objects at all this week. The only bit of sewing I've done is some mending. My wonderful son chewed a hole in his jumper. This is the Daydreamer sweater. I knit him quite a while ago now. I think he was about 1 when I knitted him this, so yeah, probably a year ago now. And obviously won't fit him now, but will fit Newbie when he arrives. This is the Daydreamer sweater by Jen Steengas, and I absolutely loved knitting this up. It was such a lovely knit. But yes, he chewed a hole in the front, in the yoke. So I have sewn that up. Where was that hole? There we are. That would be where the hole was. So I've sewn that up. I luckily had some spare of this yarn, my hand-dyed rainbow yarn. So I've managed to sew that one up and repair that. So that is ready now to be given a quick wash and refresh and go in the drawer for the next little man when he is big enough to wear it. The other bit of mending I have done are the pairs of socks that young man put holes in. I think there was a catchy bit on his high chair, and again, so I've darned those, and you can see how much this has been washed, because this is the original coloration of the rainbow yarn, and then it's just been washed and washed and washed. They've been washed literally twice a week in the washing machine, not necessarily on a hand wash cycle, but yeah, so I've some knitting was required, so I picked up the stitches around, have knitted up, picking up, and then just kitchening it off at the end. So again, I've got ends to deal with. So I've repaired 1 pair of socks for William, 2 pairs of socks for William in a completely different yarn. So he's got a nice dark brown patch on both of those. Well, medium brown and a dark brown patch on those 2 socks. Bit of visible mending there. So again, picked up, knitted up. I mean, it was gaping holes. But so they're both repaired. Again, ends to deal with. And like father, like son, James put a massive great hole in a pair of his hand knit socks on the sole of his foot. Again, not anywhere near the point of darning. So I literally picked up along a little bit bigger, knit it up, and I'm hoping this one's a bit raised in places. So I'm hoping it, with a bit of a wash and a block, they'll sort out. But again, not the same yarn, but a similar yarn. Just a patch over those, and then this one was at the point of darning, So I've given that one a darn there. So some knitting, some sewing, but all mending. Still got another couple of pairs of socks to sort out, mine and I think they're actually both my pairs of socks, which are on the point of darning. I haven't put them through to holes. So weaving, yep, zero on the weaving, but to be fair, it's been too much getting the desk cleared and getting the loom hoiked about, and at this stage of bumpness, you know, hoiking the loom off the floor. It's hard work. It's hard work picking up toddler toys, putting on my socks in the morning. It's getting to that point now where I'm just, yeah, it's hard work lugging a basketball around stuffed up your jumper. So crochet, also zero, but to be fair, I have been waiting on plying the Icelandic yarn to carry on with that. So that then leads me into spinning. There is some progress here. So I have plied, I'll find the end of it, there we go. I have chain plied or Navajo plied, which is a 3-ply, chain plied the Icelandic yarn. There we go. See that? There we go. Is that going to come out on the camera there? So I love the high twist that the chain ply gets, and I know I said it was going to be the most awful, squirrely, yucky yarn, but actually now it's plied up, it's squidgy, and it's not too squirrely. I did leave it rest a long time. I think I was putting off actually plying it because I thought it was going to be more horrible than it was. I upped the tension a bit on my wheel, and yeah, I'm really quite pleased with how it's come out. So that just needs now to be washed and skeined up, washed and thwacked, and that can go into the basket to get added into the next stage of the crochet project. I have also finished spinning up. Let's get you a bit further into this. And I have thread plied the Sarah's Textures Crafts Exmoor BFL. So you can probably see it better on the bobbin. So that bright blue streak going through the whole thing is a cone of yarn. I got given a load of cones of yarn. I'm not sure what the makeup is, but it's, you know, fancy, posh, very, very thin yarn, intended for knitting machine use. So I have thread plied it with that, and I am really quite pleased with how it's turned out. Not sure what I'm going to make with it yet, but I think, well, I know my yardage, because the other yarns are 3-plied, 100 grams, 3-plied, shrinks your yardage. It's pretty much a super chunky, that Icelandic. But this one I've managed to spin up quite nice and thinly. There. Bring the Icelandic back over for a comparison. So start to unspin that end a bit. So there we go. We got the two there. So I need to work out what I've managed to get yardage wise out of 100 grams, but it's going to be a heck of a lot more, well, at least 3 times more. So I will have to work out what I want to knit with that, whether it be a cowl or something nice. I think it's going to be something for me. So moving along on to acquisitions. I have received all the fabric I ordered for the commission project. So there's going to be rustling because I haven't gotten it out of its packaging because I'm not sure when I'm going to get a chance to do it, and I don't want it to get all dusty yet. So we've got the cotton that I ordered. I'll get that rustly stuff out the way. I have got the ripstop fabric I ordered. Yep. In the 2 colours. Bright, which is a waterproof fabric. It's a lightweight waterproof fabric. And I have gotten the big package of terry toweling. that I ordered as well. So that's for the commission project. And I also ordered some more ripstop while I was on the order. Nice blue there. To make the boys some waterproof dungarees using the Made by Jack's Mum free range fun over trousers pattern that I spoke about last time. So I think that'll be nice for that. I am probably going to try and get 3 pairs out of this. One fleece lined, well, 2 pairs of fleece lined, one for the little man and one for big brother, and in a sort of fleece lined pair, and then one lightweight one that I can just fling over his overclothes for running around more sort of summer and autumn, and just try and protect his clothes from the water he likes to pour everywhere. So there are my fabric acquisitions. List out the way. But also this fortnight I have had a really happy post day. So the lovely Anita from Gaga Knits have sent me some beautiful gifts. She has sent the most gorgeous little cardigan for the little man when he arrives, and it is so soft. This yarn is, I don't know what it is, I haven't checked. I think it might be the yarn she was using for a cardigan of hers, but it is so soft. And look at it, it's so tiny. So a beautiful little cardigan. She has sent a book for William, which has been read several times already. He does love his books. And she has sent, excuse the crinkling, again, I'm not sure when I'm going to get time to spin it, so I'm not opening it until it goes onto the wheel. But she has sent this gorgeous roving, there we go, other than the rustling, that is pretty much the colours there. And it is a fondant fibre, first ever fondant fibre I've owned, exciting. And it is merino Polworth mulberry silk, and it's the Illume collection, and the colourway is Awakened Spirit. Isn't that gorgeous? All those different colours in there, and you can really see, I don't know if it's coming out on camera all that well, but you can really see the flecks of the silk in there as well, so I'm looking forward to spinning that up. Now everything else is clear off the wheel, the Sarah's Textures Drafts and the Icelandic are clear from the wheel, I can sit down with that without any qualms. So I think I might try, if I get some decent nap time, craft time this week, then I will have a go at doing a bit of spinning on that, I think. So thank you so much, Anita. You are so very kind, and oh, I can't wait to have little man to dress in that lovely little cardigan. So yeah, exciting stuff. So on to shop update. I have been inspired this week to get my backside back to the dye pots. Hopefully, baby arrival allowing, I shall have a little shop update later on this week with these 2 colourways. I shall insert a photo here. The colourways are called Daffs and Crocus, and they're currently drying out on my very well appointed towel rail, actually. And they are my first attempt at dyeing yarn on a wood-fired stove, and man, I needed to haul a lot of wood for that. Or it seemed that way, because I can only carry in small amounts, like an armful at a time, rather than the big basket, which I'm not allowed to carry around at the moment. So anyway, I digress. There are 2 bases. There's a sport weight merino base, which are the slightly softer colours that you'll see in the picture, and there is a Stardust sock weight base, which are the more vibrant colours. So keep an eye out on the Tyddyn Bryn on Etsy shop later on this week, and hopefully I'll have time to photograph them and pop them into the shop. But again, which is going to happen first, the baby or the yarn drying. So yeah, taking bets on whether they'll make it into the shop this week, but hopefully this week, if not very soon. So they are one-time limited dye lots. They're using up the last of the undyed that I had in my stash. So the next time I do some dyeing, I will have to put in a big restash of the undyed yarn before I dye, and who knows when I'm going to get time to do that with the new baby and a toddler running round. It has, I believe, been 2 years since I was last at the dye pots. So yeah, there are still skeins in the shop of hand dyed yarn, but yes, hopefully later on this week there will be a few more going in spring colourways, because we really do need spring now. Enough of the snow already. So moving on to woodwork, I've been out varnishing the sign for the front of the house again, giving it plenty of coats of varnish. I want this sign to last, and I've given the bird boxes a quick coat as well to protect them. I've also started some work on a water pouring wheel toy thing for William, to go out onto the, well, it'll be for both the boys really eventually. I'm going to put that out and attach it to a wall, put some buckets underneath so they can pour water through it, and different pipes and bits and pieces. I haven't got a photo of that yet, but I will add photos as and when it gets a bit more completed. It's basically a sanded pallet with a bit of pipe stuck to it at the moment, because somebody wasn't having a cooperative day helping me outside that day, so we had to abandon ship. And the yawning starts. I do apologise. So anyway, moving along then to farm update. James has hired a mini digger. He hired a mini digger a fortnight before I was due to pop, but luckily he's been able to use it for the last week, so that's good. He has now dug raised beds in the slurry pits, water courses around the place. He needs to block work out all the raised beds now, but we've now got water courses around the place because we were getting issues with flooding in certain areas. We've now got water courses around. He's dug, using the rototiller and what have you, he's dug out potato beds. He's flattened an area for me to make into a digging zone for the boys, and I've managed to source some tractor tyres from a local farmer for digging pits for the boys, so I can fill them up with sand and dirt and what have you, and they can dig away to their heart's content in their own flower beds, hopefully rather than mine. We've scoped out a pond site, but it wasn't safe to take the digger down there, but in looking down for the pond site, I found that a lot of my basketry willow that I've been growing have grown on loads actually, and they need cutting back, and that will allow me to get a load more basketry willow plants growing. Some of them are absolutely glorious. They are sort of reds and yellows and really add a nice pop of colour to the landscape this season. And then next Friday, if nobody comes forward, we've got a sign on the post, we've notified the appropriate people, we will become accidental sheep owners. Still, we've got no idea whether she's in lamb, whether it's a multiple deal, but we've bought some feed to supplement her diet in case she is, and come next week, if she remains ours, we shall be booking a vet out to come and see her and register her as ours. She will have to go in our sheep book, and we will have to claim her as our own. So yes, we will be accidental sheep owners. She is really good on the bucket though, so you go out and shake a bucket, she knows exactly what's in there with the sheep nuts, and she's straight up there after them. And yeah, she's really quite a feisty girl. So I think we've settled on a name for her. You know, obviously if she becomes ours, I think we're going to call her Wanda, which is one of the suggestions a friend of mine made on Facebook, so we're going to take that one on, because, you know, she did wander over, basically. We have no idea from where. In other news then, the chicks are growing well. They are feathering up. They have grown much bigger, much faster than the last two that we had. They're certainly eating more, they're drinking more, James is finding he's filling up all their feeders and things a couple of times a day really at the moment. So yeah, they are a lot bigger. I think they're supposed to be bigger birds anyway, but their feathers are really starting to turn a sort of creamy white colour now. And sorry, I really am yawning now today. And their feet are starting to get blue tinges. So they're supposed to be great big white chickens with blue feet. I think they are going to be bigger chickens. They're a bigger breed than the last two that we bred, than Ian and Di. But they certainly stink more this time round. They're in a sort of little pen in the utility room, and yeah, they need cleaning out a lot more often. I don't know whether it's the breed, the fact that they eat more, the fact that they're growing faster, or just the fact that there's 5 of them instead of 2. But yeah, they certainly need cleaning out a lot more because they stink. William and I have been baking more cakes, muffins of the white chocolate and raspberry variety, and some more banana and chocolate chip muffins. I shall add a little montage at the end then of all the different farm happenings, basically because if I've started yawning now, I'm not going to stop. So I shall stop wittering on and add a little montage at the end. So anyway, short and sweet, I think, this week. I hope you've enjoyed this week's podcast. I am really not sure now when I'll get to podcast next. I mean, I'm trying to do a 2-weekly cycle, but baby is due next Friday. Who knows when he's going to arrive. So in the meantime, happy crafting, everybody. You can find me as Tyddyn Bryn on Instagram, Twitter, Ravelry. There's a Tyddyn Bryn Facebook page. There's a Tyddyn Bryn group on Ravelry, in which I'll put the show notes. There's a tyddynbryn.com website, which is the blog, and the show notes will also be on there. There's the Tyddyn Bryn Etsy shop, which I'm going to attempt to keep open over the birth of little man, but we shall see what occurs in the next couple of weeks. So if you enjoyed the episode, please give me a thumbs up down below, and I hope to see you all soon.